Ciao a tutti, welcome back to Venite a mangiare. I hope you brought your appetite for something delicious because today we are making bruschetta. And yes, it is pronounced bruschetta and not bruschetta. Bruschetta is a very simple and delicious dish that actually dates back to ancient Rome. Traditional bruschetta actually consists of bread that is grilled over charcoal, toasted up really nice, and then is later topped with olive oil and salt. In ancient Rome, olive growers would bring their olives to the olive press and would sample their newly pressed oil using a slice of bread. To this day, traditional Italian bruschetta is actually just toasted bread topped with olive oil and salt, and will sometimes also be topped with chopped tomatoes, cured meats, beans, or cheese. The word bruschetta actually derives from the verb bruscare, which means to toast in Roman dialect. Here in America, bruschetta is typically served with chopped tomatoes, so much so that companies actually serve the chopped tomato topping and label it as bruschetta. In my opinion, I think that bruschetta topped with tomatoes is probably one of the best ways to eat it, so the recipe I'll be sharing today uses a lot of yummy tomatoes. So let's learn how to put this simple and delicious recipe together, and then afterwards we can talk nutrition.
For this recipe, you will need 4 thick slices of bakery bread. I used a whole grain loaf, 3 to 4 vine-ripe tomatoes, chopped, 1 clove of garlic split in half, 4 tablespoons of olive oil divided into 2 tablespoons each, a handful of chopped fresh basil, it's about 5 to 6 basil leaves, and salt and pepper to taste. In a small bowl, combine tomatoes, basil, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, salt, and pepper. Mix until everything is well blended. Cover and let that mixture marinate for at least 10 minutes. As you get closer to wanting to serve your bruschetta, start toasting your bread. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Brush the top of each slice with the other 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Place on a baking sheet and cook for 5 minutes. Flip each toast and cook for another 1 to 2 minutes on the other side. Once both sides of the bread are toasted, allow the bread to cool for at least 2 minutes and then rub the cut garlic on the oiled side of bread. Top your toasted bread with the tomato mixture and enjoy.
Okay, before we taste this bruschetta, let's talk nutrition. In my opinion, I honestly think that tomatoes are probably one of the greatest creations that this world has to offer. I honestly can't think of a time when some combination of bread and tomato did not sound good. Not only do tomatoes taste great, but they also provide a lot of nutritional benefits too. Tomatoes are a type of fruit that come from the nightshade family. Although they are technically a fruit, we often eat them and prepare them as if they were a vegetable. Tomatoes are around 95% water, which makes them an excellent source of hydration in conjunction with your usual water intake. The other 5% of tomatoes are carbohydrates and fiber. Tomatoes are also one of the most prevalent sources of an antioxidant called lycopene. Lycopene is a type of carotenoid, which is basically just a fat-soluble pigment that is found in plants. It is responsible for giving tomatoes their red color, and it provides a similar effect in foods like watermelon and pink grapefruit. Because it's an antioxidant, lycopene helps to balance out the number of free radicals in the body and prevent disease-causing damage to cells. Oxidative damage to cells, which is caused by free radicals, has been linked to a wide range of chronic diseases, including cancer and heart disease. There is actually quite a bit of research out there that looks at lycopene consumption and risk of certain types of cancers. While a lot of initial studies do provide really promising results, there just really isn't enough evidence out there to support any claims that lycopene consumption will significantly decrease your risk of cancer. However, eating tomatoes and lycopene does seem to show promising results on reducing risk factors for heart disease. The results from one cross-sectional study from 2012 found that in a sample size of 1,031 men, those who had low serum lycopene and beta-carotene concentrations had an increased risk of acute myocardial infarction, which is just a fancy word for a heart attack. In a follow-up study that looked at that exact same population, it was found that those with high serum lycopene concentrations were associated with a decreased risk of stroke. It should be noted, however, that the population used in the study was only middle-aged men, so these results may not be applicable to everyone. Also, it is really hard to eat lycopene and beta-carotene in isolation, so it's really not fair to say that these nutrients led to these results. I mean, this study didn't look at things like exercise, stress levels, socioeconomic status, which could also have an impact on those results. Nonetheless, tomatoes have been shown to reduce inflammation in the body, which can help with prevention and management of certain chronic diseases. So, how can you get more lycopene in your diet? Well, tomato products such as ketchup, tomato juice, tomato sauce, and tomatoes are the #1 source of lycopene in the Western diet. The redder the tomato, the more lycopene that is found in that tomato. It also may surprise you to know that lycopene concentrations are actually higher in processed tomato products such as ketchup. In 100 grams of ketchup, you can find around 12 milligrams of lycopene. Conversely, in 100 grams of tomato, you can find around 5 milligrams of lycopene. However, it is important to remember that ketchup can be really high in sugar, and it's often consumed in very small portions, so it might be easier to obtain enough lycopene by just eating a fresh tomato. Additionally, because lycopene is a carotenoid, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a fat-soluble plant pigment, eating tomatoes with a fat source can help with lycopene absorption. So, pairing a tomato with some cheese or some olive oil like we do in this recipe may help you to absorb more lycopene. Okay, all this talk about tomatoes has got me wanting to try this bruschetta, so let's go try it out. Come venite a mangiare! Wow, tomatoes are amazing! I'm telling you, you just can't go wrong with the tomato and bread combination. Like, there's just nothing better. I am convinced. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. This is just a reminder that this video is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice. You should always consult your doctor if you do have any concerns for your health. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell for some notifications whenever I post a video. If you want to make this recipe, remember there's a full copy of the recipe in the description below. And if you have any interesting nutrition topics or any recipes you want to see me make on this channel, be sure to drop a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks again for watching.